Let's open our Bible to Malachi. Malachi 3:8. Malachi 3:8. It's a popular verse that we typically use almost all the time when we are talking about giving, not just giving, when we are talking about offering and tithing. It's a verse that people usually use. I'll read it in my own version. Malachi 3:8. We'll stop at 11. It said, should people cheat God? Yet you have cheated me. But you ask, what do you mean? When did we ever cheat you? Then he replied, you have cheated me of the tithe and offering due to me. You are under a curse, for your own nation has been cheating me. Bring all the tithe into the storehouse, so there will be enough food in my temple. If you do, says the Lord of heaven, I will open the windows of heaven for you. I will pour out a blessing so great you won't have enough room to take it. Try it. Put me to test. Your crop will be abundant, for I will guard them from insects and diseases. Your grape will not fall from the vine before they are ripe, says the Lord of heaven's army. We were speaking about this last week, and we're explaining that a lot of times when people see this verse, there's a lot of controversy around this. When you say, oh, tithe, don't tithe, offer, don't offer. There are a lot of conversation around, oh, why should I? Why should I tithe? Why should I not tithe? And all of these things. And then this place says that should people cheat God? Yes, you have cheated me. And then we're explaining extensively that when this place says you've cheated me, should people cheat God? You've cheated me. And it made me wonder that God owns everything. He's the owner of the universe. He's the one who created yourself and myself. So how possible is it for you to cheat someone? You know, when you say someone has robbed you or someone has cheated you, maybe there is a business transaction, and what is due to you, the person now takes it. Then you say, oh, this person has cheated. But the person that is saying in this context now, God is saying, we have cheated him. He's the one that owns everything. Like the contract, the owner of the contract, the person that did the contract himself, the money that they use in doing, is the one that owns it. So, well, how can that kind of someone with that kind of possession say, I have cheated? Then went further to say, it's not the value, it's not the money, but it is the action, the heart behind doing it. Because again, reference to last week, said that song that says, if I cook, if I eat, if I make this, if I make that, said God cannot eat it because he does not play with, or he does not need all of these physical things, because he does not add anything or subtract anything from him. So why is he now saying that you have robbed me, you have cheated me? My own Bible version. So why is he not saying you have cheated me, when in reality all of these things that he can't use it, he does not need it, because he does not add one thing to him, he does not subtract anything from him. We gave an example of when they wanted to take tax, the tax collectors, and he said, oh, go and open the mouth of the first fish that you see, and then the money there, take it and settle them. So someone who has that the capacity to turn whatever to whatever at any point in time that he likes, why will he say, you have cheated me, you have robbed me? So many times we cherish the things that we have, we cherish the possession and all what we have acquired so much that it now becomes very difficult for us to give it to God, or for us to use it for God. That is when God feels wrong. That, oh, I'm the one who, in natural sense, your money do not matter. to him. Your wealth do not matter to him because he's the one that even gave you the wealth in the first instance. But after all this wealth, after all of it, it might not be so much, but even the little that has been handed over to you, there is a way that we unconsciously now put it in front, we unconsciously put it above God. And that's when God now feels, that's when this, you have cheated me. So the money here is just, or the tithe and the offering here is just like an evidence to say, oh, I actually did what God has asked me to do. Some will say, oh, but I'll drop the tithe, I'll drop the offering. I don't using it for what they are supposed to do. That one is no longer your own concern. That one is no longer, it's not your headache again. But have you done what God asked you to do? Have you obeyed the instruction that God has placed before you? Have you ignored your own selfish needs and desire and put God's needs first and say, oh, because God says I should do this? It's important for us to know or to reflect in our heart that this from the example we are using, this tithe, this offering is not for God. It's for God, but in the real sense, it's not for God. Because he is not using it for anything. The only thing that he wants to see is that action of actually doing it, and then say, oh, this one, oh good and faithful servant, oh obedient servant. Why? Because you have done what he has asked that you do, not because you have brought the billions of money. Again, he can't use the money. It's we physically that will still use the funds to do one thing or the other. But then people are like, oh, well, it's my money now. Why will I, after spoiling all the weeks, why will I not drop a portion of it and just drop? It's no longer your business. It's no longer your, yes, it's your money, is your, but instruction, obedience to the voice of the Lord, obeying and putting God first before all other else, before all other thoughts. We looked at, we made reference of the, I think it's Zarephath. Let's open our Bible to Zarephath. 1 Kings 17. 1 Kings 17 from 18 to 16. I'll be 8 to 16 rather. Then the Lord said to Elijah, go and live in the village of Zarephath, near the city of Sidon. I've instructed a widow there to feed you. So he went to Zarephath. As he arrived at the gate of the village, he saw a widow gathering sticks, and he asked her, would you please bring me a little cup of water? Is water now? Okay. Anyway, it's water. She said, as she was going to get it, he called her and said, excuse me, ma, bring me some bread too. But the woman said, I swear by the Lord your God that I do not have a single piece of bread in the house, and I have only a handful of flour left in the jar and a little cooking oil in the bottom of the jug. I was just gathering the few sticks to cook this last meal, and then my son and I will die. But Elijah said to her, don't be afraid. Go ahead and do just what you have said, but make a little bread for me first. Then use what is left to prepare meal for yourself and your son. That first verse in 8 or in 9, he said, I have instructed a widow there to feed you. So that instruction, she has received it already. He said, because it's past tense. It's before he got there. I said, I've instructed a widow there to feed you. And then he got there really, and then he met the widow, and then he told the widow, oh, I need this. And although the widow had the last flour, the last oil that she needed to and then feed her and her son, and then they said, okay, maybe that will be their last supper and it will be all. And then he's coming. After he came, and then he said, oh, make mine first. Make mine first. After you have made mine, then you can now tend to yours. the instruction had come, make mine first. The instruction had come to her even before Elijah had gotten there. But she could have said that, oh, this is just what is left for me. And she could have said, oh, Elijah, I hear you. Please have a seat. Let me make it. Feed myself and my son. Then what is left over, I will give to you. And then you can eat. She's still feeding him. She still fed him. But the instruction was, do mine first. After which, you can now do yours. After which, the remaining, if you remain, you can now do yours. A lot of times, God has given us instruction, even outside. I'm just using that. The reason why I use the reference of the tithe and the offering is the place to emphasize that place of, you have robbed. You have robbed. When would you not do what God has asked us to do? When would you not work? When God has given an instruction that do this, and we do not do it, it means we are robbing God of that joy, of that fulfillment that, oh, my son has done this. I think it's still in that Malachi that was talking about a son that is honoring his father. I think it's Malachi 1 that was talking about let me check. I think that's Malachi 1 verse 6. Let's just quickly read what is there. The Lord of heaven's army says to the priests, a son honors his father, and a servant respects his master. If I am your father and master, where are the honor and respect I deserve? You have shown contempt to my name, but you ask, how have we shown contempt to your name? You have shown contempt by offering defiled sacrifice on my altar. Then you ask, how have we defiled the sacrifices? You defy them by saying the altar of the Lord deserves no respect. If we remember the story of Cain and Abel, there were two of they both came and they offered. They both came with offering before the Lord. God had, I think it was Abel's one that was accepted, and Abel was the hunter, had he? No. Abel was the hunter that brought fresh ram. Headman. Cain was the farmer that brought fruit. Abel brought the best of his harvest, of his flock. He brought the best. Why Cain? You know that Esha that they always sell in the market. Cain brought, I don't know if it's exactly that, but remnants. He brought the rest. After I've eaten, I'm satisfied. The rest on the table that I do not really need again, I now bring it to God. This place says, a son honors his father. A son that honors his father does not bring defiled sacrifice to the father. A son that honors his father or respects his master do not bring defiled. Our sacrifice, our offering becomes defiled when we refuse to put God first. When we refuse to choose God first, when we refuse to honor the word of God, honor the desires of God. Oh, God has said this. That's when you say, oh, you have robbed me. Because again, you have robbed the father of that honor to say, oh, my son brought the fattest of rams for me. My son brought the best of the best for me. This is speaking to our obedience. It's speaking to us hearkening to the voice of the Lord. When God gives an instruction, when God says something, that we do it. He said the widow of Zarephath, he said God had instructed her. And then he came and then he said, that's Elijah now. He came and he said, feed me first. After you have fed me, you can now sort yourself out. And indeed, she went and she fed him first. Why? Because an instruction had come that, oh, God is sending somebody to her that she needed to feed. And rather than think that, oh, think of herself first, which is very hard. Rather than think of herself first, she went ahead and made the food and gave it to him first. That shows honor, because God had instructed, God had given a command, do this, and then she went ahead and then she did it. A lot of times we get instructions, we get things to do, but because of one thing or the other, it could be, if I do this now, how will I be able to survive? If I do this now, how will I be able to eat? If I give this now, and then we forget that the actual source of the money we are contemplating on giving out or not giving out is actually God. And he that was able to provide that one in the first place is still on the throne and is still able to provide. But we totally forget that aspect, and then we are just thinking of, he says, look at the lilies that are here today and tomorrow they have withered away, but I still clothe them in so much beauty, I still clothe them in so much splendor. How much more you? But we forget the fact that even all of the wealth, all of the things that we have been able to accumulate all of this while, is even God that gave it to us in the first place. And then because he just wants to test your heart and see how well you are committed and dedicated, then he says, oh, from this much that I've given to you, or from this little, because you might say, oh, about me, I'm not part among them, I don't have much. From this little, from this much that I've given to you, give me small, give me a little, just small. You know when you have just a bowl of, you have just small rice that you want to eat that, let me use this one to hold body, and then you just hear a knock on the door. First instinct to be, let me quickly cover this food and keep it somewhere. When the person that is knocking, after I've engaged him and the person has gone ahead, I cannot, because if I keep eating this thing, I will have to, come and join me. And you know, it's not everybody you tell, come and join me, that will say, thank you. Some will also say, oh, where is the spoon? Let me join you. Where is the spoon? Let me join you. So first instinct, because in our mind, oh, this is small, this is just little, it's not so much for me that I now want to give this out, or I have so many things in front of me, so many projects I need to sort. Why are you saying that I should give my neighbor this amount? If I give him this now, will I be able to complete this? But we forget that the actual source of all of these things that we have acquired is God himself, that is now saying, out of this that I'm giving you, give this. But then you are now using logic with it to say, but this is this now, but if I do this, but if I do this, but if I give my offering, if I give my tithe, I don't know how they are using it. I'm not there to administer or see how they are using my money. It's no longer your money. He said, give. Have you done your own part? You know, see, the word of God is so well rounded that, just give now, give it to the shepherd that say give. If the minister, the pastor, like let him misappropriate on the Shebna story and Eliakim story that God will. So it's well rounded. So just do your own. The instruction that God has given to you, just do it. Because when we do not follow instruction, when we do not do what God has asked us to do, that is when we are robbing God. Not because we do not bring food. There will always be food in the house. If the people of what's it called, Levite, Israelites, refuse to bring the tenth of their crops to the Levites to feed, the Levites will not go hungry. God will provide, because all of them were in the wilderness when God was raining manna for everybody to eat, and the Levites were taking manna and eating from it. So there will always be another provision somewhere else if you do not do what you are supposed to do, and then you are now robbing yourself of all of the. Towards the end of that Malachi 3 was talking about, oh, I will open the windows of heaven and all of that. But there has to be that action of doing that which God has instructed. Even for the widow of Zarephath too, this thing too, there was a blessing that was attached to it. And she enjoyed that blessing. I think it was 1 King. I've left the place again. 1 King 17, thank you, ma'am. From 8, yeah. He said, But Elijah said to the woman, to her, don't be afraid. Go ahead and do just what you have said, but make a little bread for me first. Then use what's left to prepare a meal for yourself and your son. For you know when two people want to eat something, and then a third mouth is not coming, and the third mouth is saying, do it for me first. After doing it for me first, the remaining half, two of you now share it. You know, that's even because he's a man and men eat more. He's a man and men eat more. Maybe that you eat 3/4 of it and just leave 1/4 for them. But he said, make mine first, then the rest, you and your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says: there will always be flour and olive left in your container until the time when the Lord sends rain and crops. You know, at that time there was famine, so there was no way that she could have gone to the farm to get crop and eat. So God recognized that situation and said, until there is rain, until I supply, like the natural way, there is a supernatural way that I will use to provide for you. You just give me the first. And truly, she gave the first. He said, so she did as Elijah said, and she and Elijah and her family continued to eat for many days. There was always enough flour and olive left in the container, just as the Lord had promised through Elijah. Said there was always. So he said she went ahead to do, meaning that she went ahead to make Elijah's food first. And then when she made Elijah's food, you know, after making Elijah's food and say, okay, prophet, take. Then she's going back to use the remaining small one. This is looking more than it was before. And then she made it. And then she went to make this thing still remain. And then it continued. Why? Because she had given first. She had followed the instruction. He said, I have instructed. What instruction has God given to us? Are we following the instruction? If we do not follow the instruction, that is when that place of, oh, you have robbed me. And when he even says, even thinking it deeper now, when he says, you have robbed me, he's not only even robbing God of that honor, of that pleasure, of that excitement, that, oh, my son did what I had to do. But it's also robbing God of the pleasure of blessing us with what he had asked that he would bless us with. So when he said, oh, you have robbed me, it's not just about, the money that it's my money now. It's my money. It's not your money. Because he said our life itself is not our own. So how is he said my money is your money, all those people that are arguing, my money is your money, is none of his money in the first instance. Because your own your hair, someone who does not even have life, can you be fighting over money? So it's important that the instructions that God gives to us, the directions, the things that God says that we do them according to how he has asked us to do it. You know, this thing is important. Like, how do I say it now? The process is important. For this Elijah, he said, give me my own first. When you give me my own, then go and prepare the one for. If she has said, oh, let me prepare my own first, then the one that is left, I will use it to cook for. She might get there and not meet any other flour left. She might get there and not meet, or the flour that she has might just be enough to do one chin. Like that's what she and say, oh, Elijah, this is what is left. Take. By the time she gets back there, there will be nothing. And truly, she and her son, they will eat that food and they will die. Because that was the intent of her heart before. That, but he said, go, make mine first. After making mine, go back, then make yours. And then she followed that order. It's important that when God gives instruction, we follow. We remember the story of Saul, that they had instructed that go there, kill everybody, the animal, kill everybody. And then he actually got up and went there and killed the men. He killed the men and left the women because women were looking so fresh and fine. And then he left the ram because the ram, the fattest of rams, imagine, he killed the haggard looking rams and he kept the fresh ones. And in his mind of mind, he said, so that I can offer it as a sacrifice. But there was an instruction. And then Samuel came and he said, obedience, obedience, obedience is better than sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. It's funny how this part of tithe and offering speaks both to obedience and speaks to sacrifice, because you are offering. Offering is like the sacrifice, what you have. You know that time they sacrifice ram. Now is like what you have from what you have given. Sacrifice, it brings both in form of obeying in sacrificing. Obedience is sacrificing to God. So it's important that when God gives an instruction, when He has said, oh, this is what I want you to do, that is exactly what we should do. If we are putting it on a scale of percentage, Saul actually obeyed because he went there, but he did not obey completely. And they say partial obedience is still disobedience. It's still disobedience. So when God is asking us to do one thing or do the other thing, as instructed, He said the woman of Zarephath did as she was told. That she did as she was told. You know that in cooking, you can maneuver, you can adjust it. Again, she's the one in the kitchen. She knows how she can. Let me just share. Let me do it simultaneously. Let me do his own as I'm doing my own. It's better. Let me knead it together so that the oil will be enough for both. Different mind, different thoughts could have come. Is it not better to put all the flour together and then use all the oil? Then I can maybe first take it. He said, no, go and do mine first. When you have done mine, you can now go back and now say you want to do your own. And then actually she did. She made, which is out of the ordinary in a time of famine. It seems that she was giving all that she had. She was giving, because she says, oh, I will eat this. After eating this is it. So that was all that she had left. And he said, oh, give it to me. And then she did as she was commanded. He said, do mine first. And then we saw the result at the end of the day. You have cheated me. You have robbed me. God was not speaking about the physical money. Because again, the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. The world and they that dwell in it. So you are His own. So, you know, in those days, when, I don't know, in all those movies that we watch, that a slave, once the slave gives birth, the child of that slave becomes the owner, the owner of that slave. How do I explain it? The child of the slave is also a slave to the owner of that slave. So whatever thing that slave acquires in his entire existence, he becomes that of the owner until the day he says, oh, okay, I give you your freedom, I give you your freedom, you are able to go. So all that we own, all that we have, all belongs to God. So when he says, from all this that belongs to me, that I put in your hand, can you please give me a little of it? And you say, no, I can't give you. I need it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 cannot enter. Some people don't. Okay, I need it for 1, 2, 3, oh, for 6, I'll consider. Some people don't use. There is no room at all, Seth. You know, in terms of ranking, when we are supposed to put God first, some people are even minded, like, okay, let me just put God in number 6. Some people are even like close the door, put him outside. Well, let's first wait there. When we saw this one, provide more. When you provide more, but it said, he that is not faithful in little, if you are not faithful with the little that you have, even when more comes, You will not be faithful in it. It's just like these things that when they say, anyway, when they say if you cannot save from the small money that you have now, it will be almost difficult for some people say it's a lie, but you might not be able to save from the plenty that you have, because funny enough how things just keep coming up when there is funds. I think also when there is no fund, things will be coming, but because there is no fund, there's nothing I can do about it. You just leave it and let it pass. So I think things are always coming up, but because okay, I can take care of this now, I can handle this now, I can handle this now, so things will always keep coming up. So if we refuse to prioritize who God as our priority, we just keep seeing that every other thing keeps creeping in, and then before we know it, what we think that is little now becomes so little that we now find it difficult to even honor God with ourselves, with our belongings. So when it says you have robbed me, I just want to reemphasize that it's not about resource at all. It's not about the fact that so God needs my money. No, God does not need your money. He's the one that can open the mouth of fish and bring out money from it. So in all way, shape or form, it's not about what you have, because even what you have or what you feel so difficult to use in honoring God, is God that gave it to you in the first place. It is honor, it is priority that God seeks. Putting God as priority, putting God as first. When God gives an instruction, obeying the instruction as God has given it out and walking in line with what God has said. That is when just imagine how excited God must have been when the widow of Zarephath just did. He said, I have instructed her, and she did as she was instructed. And because she did as she was instructed, she did not rob God of the ability to bless her. She did not rob God of that joy of being able to say, oh, I gave my daughter an instruction, and she did as she was told. She did as she was told. So it's important that we get out of that mindset of limits. You know, it's someone that has a mindset of limitation that will be thinking that, oh, yes, and laugh that if I give this now, how will I be able to sort this out? And then you forget that it is even God in the first instance that gave you all of the things that you are now. You know, when you give a child something, you give them maybe biscuits. I buy biscuits for what do you buy for me? I bought biscuits for you. Oh yeah, take. And then let me open it. They now open it. I say, oh yeah, give me small. That's how most of us are in our dealing with God. In when God gives us instruction. Oh, do this. Oh, I've blessed you with. Just look at the story of the talent. Oh, I've blessed you with what's it called? Talents. Take, use it. The one with the one. He said, I will not use it. That's how, after he has given him that, okay, I've given you, now give back. He was like, no, I will not. Which is something that most of us do when we are given an instruction to do one thing or to do the other thing. Oh, is it give to your neighbor? Is it love your neighbor? It might not even be giving. It might not even be physical things. It might not even be things that someone can see, or maybe things that are like resource. It might just be maybe your action towards them that you are withholding or something. When God gives an instruction, we rob him when we do not do them. When God gives he gives a directive or a direction for us to take, if we do not, because it brought so much I'm sure it brought so much pain to the heart of God when Saul left, like, you know, when I was giving this, and he was going with so much enthusiasm that, oh yes, we will kill them all, we will wipe them all. And like, oh, good boy, good son. And then he got there, and then he experienced the Amalekites. He saw things and was like, oh wow. And then the ginger to kill all was suddenly reducing, and then he did as he had said, and then just did as he pleased. Moving away from what God has said he should do. And that brought problem. I think that was, is it the first or the second problem that I had? The first one was even offering sacrifice. And you are not a priest. You are not, you're supposed to wait for Samuel to come and offer. Because if you read in the book of Exodus, when they were giving all instructions, and it was like, oh, there is a ranking of who can enter the holies of holies. There is a ranking of who can walk within the area of the temple and all of those. It's just the Levites that have. It's not all Levites that can go up and give sacrifice. I think it's the ones from the descendants of Aaron directly that could go. But it's even only Aaron that could even enter the holies of holies. They will still tie rope to his leg in case he meets something there, at least we can't do. Because nobody can enter and carry him out. That's why they are putting that rope there. So if it's too long, maybe it's better. If you are spending like 72 days, I mean 72 hours, maybe let's start dragging and see if what will drag out. So that as it's moving, they'll be hearing the green. Once they stop hearing green, or they hear suddenly green like a crash, they'll know that something has happened already. Yes. So there was already and so he understood to a large extent because he's king. So he knows the procedures, the process and everything, and he still went ahead to flounce an instruction that God has set even before he became king. You know, he became king when they eventually had access to the promise, and they're saying, oh, we need a king. See all the other nations, they have king, we need a king. I said, okay, take the king. So he has heard all of those stories. He knew what was right and what was not right. And he knew that it was a priest that was supposed to offer that sacrifice. First, he did not kill everybody. Then he says that, oh, he wants to now offer sacrifice. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So obeying the instruction and the voice of the Lord is very important. When we do not obey what God is saying that we should do, or when we do not obey the voice of the Lord, it now seems like we are robbing him of that. I just look at the life of Abraham when he says, oh, the son that I've given to you and that you have waited for, take him and go and kill him and go and sacrifice him to me. And then without thinking twice, you know, there is thinking twice, but I still did it. Oh, Abraham did not even. He said he's a man of faith. For him to be called that, he shows that he actually, you know, like there was no me again in that situation where I was sitting on my own when he came to me to say I should do my father's house. I got up, I left. I was sitting on my own when he came and he showed me the star. I will be father of many nations. I was sitting on my own, and now you say I should go and okay, no wahala. Maybe you are the one that gives. You are the one that wants to take it. Yeah. Let's go. And then he got up without thinking twice. That shows someone that he was willing to let go of everything. Just imagine the excitement. Maybe there was even Job. You just imagine that sitting in the time of Job, in the time of Abraham. He said, I trust my son Abraham. That don't worry, I'll tell him now. Go and kill that boy, and he will kill him. And he say, lie. Someone that has waited for 90 days, 90 years, 100 years, he has been toiling all night. You know that's the definition of toil all night. He has been toiling all night for 90 days, for 90 years. And he said, oh, the son eventually came after 100 years. Was while I was 90, the son eventually came and then said, oh, don't worry, I will tell Abraham, my son, to kill that boy. And then he will take that boy and then he will go and kill him. He will try to kill him, but don't worry, I will not allow that to happen. Abraham did not know that God already proposed in his heart that this will not happen. Abraham in his mind, as immediately God said, take this boy, immediately that boy was a dead meat in the eyes of Abraham already. That, oh, God wants you, you are gone. And just carried the boy and was going. And then God now said, oh, no. The boy said, the boy said, Daddy, what of the ram? Where is the ram? You say you are going up to sacrifice. Where is the ram? Don't worry. God will provide. But in his mind, he was not expecting God's provision. In his mind, he was not expecting that God will provide. In his mind, he knew that God has already provided. That this is the ram. This is the sacrifice, not the ram now. This is the sacrifice. This is the sacrifice for this that we are going for. But again, he cannot tell the boy. The boy is like 8. The boy can run away, and he's an old man. He cannot. He will not be born. But he not even lied to the boy. He said, don't worry, God will sort us out when we get there. And then they got there. And he said, do not lay your hands. Yes. And the boy too, they cover him, says, they put him on the slab. The guy just stayed there. He said, don't worry. And then I said, don't lay your hands on that boy. But because I have provided. And then suddenly, they were there before now. They were there when they were tying up. They did not see that ram. But it was when it was now time. Oh, see, there is a sacrifice that I've provided there. And then he provided. When instruction is followed, when we do not rob God of that opportunity to show himself, he will show forth. When we follow the instruction that God has given to us, and we do not, so the stage is first, we rob God of that excitement. Say, can you see my daughter? When he's talking to all of the other angels, and I told you now, this girl will do. Maybe I told you, it might be difficult for her because maybe things are not looking so nice. But if I say, give this last thing out, she will give it. And truly, that's my girl, that's my girl. Don't worry. Tomorrow, someone will call you and give you 1, 2, 3. And truly, someone will call and then bless the person. But imagine hoarding in Domi. Hoarding it. Keeping it, no. Just like some of our people, like, hoarding is as if, no, they want to. I think there's this story of a rich man that they say, when I die, bury me with all of my. I said the next day, people have come there to exhume this thing and carry up because you are not supposed to take. He said, barely have we come, barely we go. And what's that this thing there? Naked, like we came without nothing, we are going with nothing. So that which God has blessed you with while you are here, use it to honor God. Use it to bless God. That which the instructions that God is giving to you, is it with your resources, with your time? Use it to bless God back. So that God will say, look at my son. I told you that I will do. You know, when a child comes out of maybe uni or school, writes YF, clears A's, there is the 50 shoulder pad. When God instructs us to do something, this thing is there. My daughter, my son, I asked this person to do this, and she did it. That's when you say, yes, so they did not ask you question. I want we clear go when straight. They did not ask you, but because there's that pride in your heart, there's that excitement in your heart that I sent this one to school. I asked this one to learn. I asked one to make me proud, and she actually came. And they will not. Oh my God, that's the thing. Everything is right. They did not ask you. They just ask that how is. Maybe they just say, I want one call. They did not ask of the one. They just ask generally. I want tell me here. She want to call her head. She want to clear the way. Want to call down. Want to wear what? They do not ask you. But because there is that excitement in your heart that this my child has made me proud, you just want to talk about it, which happened to Job, and which that's when they like, you think so? Don't worry, let's deal with it. But thankfully, Job stayed, and God was proud of him that yes, he passed. You know, when God puts one to a test, and then the person passes it. That Zarephath woman was like, she took a test and she passed. So many times, some instruction come and we are taking a test and we are arguing, we are fighting with God, we are contemplating in our heart that, for God, we are negotiating. Like, God, some will say, boy, you are giving us brain now. You just take one tap, that brain. So it's important that when God is giving an instruction, when God is directing us through things, that we do it, because there is that joy that comes to the heart of the Father when He asks a son to do something. Just imagine the mother or the father is going out and say, Tope, before I come back, make sure I meet this house sparkling clean. And then the mom goes out and comes back, and the house is sparkling dirty. They want to be like the anger that will be in the heart of, but I told you to do this. But just imagine, the mother comes back and everywhere is clean, everything is shining, everywhere is okay. Well done, and then there's a gift. She's happy that the gift that she brought is not wasting in her bag, because she might not be able to eat biscuits. God cannot spend the money. He needs to give it out. He needs to bless you. He does not need all of those material and physical things. We are the ones that need it. And say, you have done well. You have done well. Oh yeah, take. And the mother is excited to give that out. That take. You have She's excited. So same thing when we follow the instructions that God is giving to us, and we are not arguing. We are not saying that no, but why will I do this? Why will I be doing this? Or they say, give to maybe you have an instruction, give to your neighbor, and your mind, can the neighbor work? At least I go out every day and work, but she just indoors doing what? Is she handicapped? And you are giving reasons why not. But the instruction is not about what she's doing or what she does. It's about the instruction that your Father has given to you, and you take that step to honor Him. Just because I don't like you, I don't want to do it, but because my Father has asked me to do this, I will do it with all joy in my heart. And then you go ahead and you do it, regardless of what comes back or what comes after. You are not even looking at the reward that you will get or the thank you that you will receive. Just because my Father has to do it, that's why I'm doing it. So it's important that we do not hold on so much or so tight to what we have, that we now value our resource, or we now value our needs more than we value God. We value our lives more than we value God. And then we place God at number 10, maybe at number something. After I've sorted everything out, then we can now reason together. It's important that we put God first. We follow the instructions of God as God is saying. That we put God in priority, because God has prioritized us. God has prioritized us. He said that book in when we make reference of Jesus. Funny, in those book of Exodus, when God was talking about everything, He was saying first of everything, first fruit, first son, so God desires that first position, that first place in our hearts. When one becomes two, the question is already missed. There's already a disorder. There is no order again. And then that's why you say, things are that's funny. You say, put it first. That's why you say, it can't balance, because the one that is supposed to be in number 1 is now taking number 2 or number 4 position. The balance, the equation, there's already that scale, that law, the scale is no longer balanced. So when God says the first fruits or the first son, even when Sunday is the first day, if you are looking at this, they say, first, everything first. So God wants us to put Him first in our hearts, first in our doing. I'm giving instruction, do mine first. He said, Elijah told the Zarephath man, do mine first. After you have done mine, then go and do your own and your son's own. And then we will all live and continually be eating and be okay. And that was how it went. That was how it went. God has put us for so many time and time again, to so much that He gave Himself, He gave His own life, just so that we can. I don't think there's any greater or better or bigger sacrifice than that. He said, there is no greater love than this, for He that laid down His life for he that has laid down his life. So it's important that we are not looking at what we have, no matter how big, no matter how plenty, no matter how huge something is. Once, when you say, oh, I have so much money, I have 1 million. When you move 1 naira from 1 million, it becomes 999,000. It comes back to this thing. So no matter how much the resources is that we think we have, and the things that we need, we'll keep using it, to keep going, because it's meant to be used. It's meant to be used. So when we now think, no, I know I must keep it, then we unconsciously now make our resource Lord in our life over God, the one who provided that resource in the first place. That's when the struggle now comes. Oh, do this. You are now bringing plenty analysis to it to say, oh, but why should I do this? Why must I do it? And people that are our own is just obey. What has God said? God has said, do this, and I do it. God has said, do that, and I do it. What will happen after that? Or the reason why God says it was, that one, we cannot start discussing that one later. But that instruction, it's important that we do it. And we are not just doing it how we like, but we are doing it how God has instructed, or how God says that we should do it. Because again, the process, it matters a lot in trying to achieve that which God has said we should do. So it's important that we put God first. It's important that we listen to the instructions that God is giving, and not just listening to the instructions that God is giving. We are doing it because it is the action of doing it, our heart position, the placement, the state of our hearts in terms of, am I doing what God is asking me to do? How are we receptive? Are we like grumbling? Are we angry? Are we like, oh, why is God saying I should do it? Are we complaining? Are we rumbling? It's important that if God gives an instruction, we follow the instruction and we do according to what God has said we should do. Because when we do not do according to the instructions of God, we are robbing God of that joy of saying, oh, see my daughter, oh, good and faithful daughter, oh, good and faithful son. And then we're also robbing God of the opportunity to be able to even bless us back. Because I said do this, and if you do this, I will do all of this for you. And we are robbing God of doing that all of this for us. So it's important that we take our minds out of the little things. We take our mind out of, he said, as far as the heavens. He said, that's not the one I'm saying. That the thought of God is so more than our mind can think, or more than our mind can comprehend. He's able to do, thank you, sir. He's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we can ask for. I love that part so much. I said, think all that we can ask. There's limits to what we can ask. Oh, after talking, oh, I'm tired, I want to sleep. But you see this mind, oh God, it can travel. It travels so fast. It travels so wide. So I like that part of how more than we can ask and more than we can think. So it's important that we don't limit ourselves to what we have, and then we are using what we have now to now hold ourselves back from getting to the other point that we can. Yes, to the other point of surplus, to the other point of wealth, to the other point of plenty, and then we just hold ourselves back here because of the tip of the iceberg that God has shown us. We now hold it, see, and we hold it as if it's our very life, and we leave the one who has given us that life in the first instance. It's just people that we see. We've not seen the entire. And just because of that one, and what God has in store for us is the entire thing. And because we've just seen the tip, and the tip looks so nice, and then we're like, oh, let me keep it. When next do I know that I will see this? And you now hold on to it so much that you now place it above God. He said, put God first. Put God first. Our priority should be God. Our priority should be God. Surrendering all that you have to Him. Trusting him with all that you have, trusting him with your possession, because in the first instance, he's the one who gave you that possession. Trusting him with all that you have, prioritizing him and saying, oh, well, you have said I should do this, so take, I'm doing it. So I think I'm not even I can't remember that story, but I think I've heard someone that said, oh, his last thief, he dropped it. Say, well, it was time for offering and he did not have any fund. The only money he had with him was the transfer fee, and he was hearing it strongly in his heart that drop this. No, I will trek home today. Drop this. And then he took that money and then he dropped it. Thinking that, well, at least the next 1 hour, 30 minutes, I will get home. Let me start trekking. And thankfully, God raised. I think there are 2 versions of that thing that I know. That thankfully, as he was going, that someone else, like in the congregation, I'm going this your side, oh yeah, now let's go. And then in just that conversation, even things that he was not expecting that he would be able to get or achieve, they were able to have some discussions that helped him for another phase. But just imagine that was last card, no, you will take bike. And that conversation that he had, he will not have it. Yes, he will not have it because he will still have that money. There's I go back there. That might be his plan. I said, oh, drop that phone. And he took it and he dropped it. And just as he was about to start his 1 hour, 30 minutes, 10,000 steps. You use that opportunity to complete his 10,000 steps per day. Oh yeah, now let's start. And then provision was made for him to get home. And it was not only provision for him to get home that was made, even provision for the coming days of funds that he will need, or things that he had to do that supplied him for that remaining part of it. So it's important that when God gives instructions, that we follow the instructions. He knows our worth. My net worth. He knows your net worth. This is my net worth. Oh, this is I have to do somebody in my car. I cannot do this. He knows everything. Do you know how many of us are in this world? And he knows the exact to the cover of everyone. So why are we holding on to things that are that are numbers? Which movie was that watching? That someone was adding all the money he owes. He said, no, these are just numbers. These are just numbers. Because the amount that he was calculating as debt was scaring him. He said, oh no, these are just figures. They are just numbers. So it's important that we do not hold on to things like as if it's not God that gave it to us in the first place. It's important that we don't hold on to things like it's not God that supplied us. He said, I will supply. He said, for the Lord will supply all my needs according to his riches. We should not hold on to what we have as if it's not God that supplied all those riches in the first place, and as if he's not able to supply it if we do one thing or the other. So it's important that this story of this man of Zarephath is so, because it was her last. It was all that she had. And even these days, it's not even, most times, the instruction is not even all that you have. It's just a percentage of what you have, or a little, and it's so difficult. It's so difficult, forgetting that in the very first instance, all the riches, I have acquired so much. My barn, see my barn, so full. I've acquired a lot. You say, oh, see this food. See this rich food. See this rich food. That, don't worry, tomorrow. And truly, the owner of the life came. The owner of the life came. So why are we holding on to? We're holding on to what? Holding on to what? God will help us to just, as we keep on working to follow his path accordingly, his instruction accordingly. Because again, it's easy sometimes to say, is almost easy to say, almost easy to hear. But I know that God recognizes the difficulty in it. That's why He wants to see you do it, so that you will be excited that even as difficult as this thing was for this child of mine, she still took the pain to do it. Instruction, generally, when God gives an instruction, when God gives us a word for us to say, it's also important that we follow it. We do that which God has said, because that is when we bring smile. He said, doing that which pleases me. My meat is to do that which pleases God. Putting God first, as continually work towards prioritizing God in our life, prioritizing God in our hearts. Because all that we own, all that we have, all that we have acquired is from God. That's why I think it was the book of Psalm. Come on, let me quickly check. So we'll stop there. I think I pegged it somewhere. So I can't find the verse. Let's check Psalm 50. Everything. He said every beast of before I come. Psalm 50:10. First and mine, and I own the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know every bird on the mountain. I know all the animals of the field, and all the animals of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I will not tell you, for all the world is mine and everything in it. If I were hungry, so it's not hunger that is doing God. It's not that he's hungry. That's why I say that it's not hunger. He's not going to say, oh, bring this thing, bring your thing. He's not. We don't have a hungry God. He said he is the owner of all the cattle, all the animals of 1,000 years. So he said, if I'm hungry, I will not tell you. All he needs to do is just I'm telling you. And he's one that created all of them. Oh, can you imagine when Jacob, that one, the one that ladder. Jacob was in the house of Laban, and Laban was cheating him. And God caused the animals to keep on giving birth to animals that has stripe, that has dotted polka dots, which is almost unusual, because Laban has gone there. He has seen that it's like two polka dots. Those are the ones that are available. Okay, don't worry. Your wage is the polka dots. My own is the smooth animals. And then immediately he gave that one. Your own is the polka dots. All the animals just kept giving to animals that had stripes, spots. They just kept giving, which is unusual, because that was not what they were giving birth to in the first place. And everybody just I'm sure Laban will get there and say, so the God that can cause that kind of imbalance or rebalance, it's not imbalance now, it's rebalance, just to make sure that his own sees. Yes. Why are we now holding on to the small things that God has given to us when He has so much that He wants to give us? So the little in us say, oh, bring us. Say, no. He said He's the owner of all He said, for all the animals of the forest are mine. And I own the cattle on 1,000 hills. 1,000 hills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 1,000. He said He owns all the cattle on it. Meaning that those cattle on those hills are even more than 1,000, because we'll see like 10, 100 cattle on one hill. He said He owns everything. He said, I know every bird on the mountain. All the animals of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I will not tell you, for all the world is mine and everything in it. Do I eat the meat of bulls? Do I drink the blood of goats? Say, make thankful your sacrifice to God and keep the vow that you have made to the Most High. Then call on me when you are in trouble, and I will rescue you, and you will give me glory. Amen. Amen. So God does not need, He does not need it. It's just that our heart, desire of our heart to do desire of our heart to achieve that which is said. That is what God actually. Silver and gold are mine. Silver and gold are mine. The silver, the gold, the money in all of this is his own. Silver and gold are mine. So let's not prioritize. That's why I say something is mammon. Mammon is money. I don't know. God or ahead. Don't let us prioritize, because when we are putting what I have, it's not like we are now putting our possession above God, and that makes the balance cannot balance. Cannot. He said, put first, then all others. But when you do not put first, there's no others that will follow. So that equation, there is now a problem with it. Let's rise to our feet.